The college baseball experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 100 times your entry with Underdog Fantasy Pick'em. Sign up today with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by the Mega Memorial Merch Sale. 15% off everything in the SGPN merch store with the promo code SGPNMay. And we're back here once again on the college baseball experience. What's going on, everybody? My name is Noah Bieniek, aka 77. My Twitter down there is below NoahB77_. Unfortunately, you cover the game of college baseball the entire season long. I'm giving out picks every single day. Not many losing days throughout the entire year. My record is pretty transparent on the website. Overall, on Twitter, I get pretty procrastination, or I procrastinate a lot, and I don't keep up with my record throughout the year. But we have our website and our robots to do that. It's been good. Yesterday was not. It's a bounce back day, bounce back weekend now after what we did yesterday. It was not great. We had a couple of pitchers that we went against that just absolutely dealt. Some I'm not blaming it all on variance. There was a couple of them that could have gone either way. Like the San Diego play was in extra innings against Oregon. That could have went our way. But some of them were really bad. Like I had the VCU Wake Forest over, and there was 1 run scored total in that game. So it was just a mix of everything. One of my worst days of the season. Hoping to bounce back here today. We're doing a live show at like a very reasonable time. So everybody, go ahead, light up the chat. I am going to try to get through the early slate as fast as possible. That way, when I go to upload this audio to all podcast platforms, the people that tune in can then hear all the early games, and then I'll get to the chat in about 15 minutes or so. Trust me, there was not a ton of pitching announcements and pitchers slated for the early games because, most of those games are 3-4 seeds. Most of those games just haven't figured out their pitching. That's kind of the reason why they're in the 3-4 seed game. It's a small part, not a huge part, but I'm going to go through the ones that have pitchers listed. There's not many of them. Then I'll read the ad. Then I'll go through some of them that I have projections for that I'm going to predict who pitches. That's typically what I do for the NCAA tournament. And then I'll come back around and I'll get into this chat. All right. Game 1 here that we're going to talk about, that we're going to discuss because we have pitchers on it. The odds technically, not enticing the bet really, but Bryant plus 250, James Madison minus 345. I'm going to double check that is the current price real quick. Refreshing my page. Should have done that before I went live. Yes, current price still. Bryant and JMU total set at 14. The run line 3.5. JMU minus 3.5 is minus 105. And Bryant plus 3.5 is minus 110. Like I said, we do have pitchers for this game. For Bryant, it's going to be Liam Lavangi, graduate senior right-hander with an 8.37 ERA, 33 strikeouts, 12 walks in 33.1 innings with a 3.94 Sierra. Bryant's number 2 for much of the season, Jack DeLongchamp. I think it's not Jack DeLongchamp. That's my buddy that works for 11.7. I'm pulling this up right now. Not Jack DeLongchamp. It is Luke DeLongchamp. He's hurt, unfortunately, and he has been a much better pitcher this season than Liam Levangie. So that's a big hit for Bryant here. James Madison is going to start Max Cool, who's a sophomore lefty, 5-4, 4.13 ERA, 67 strikeouts, 31 walks, and 61 innings with a 3.74 SIERA. In his last 7 appearances, it's a 1.13 ERA. So very, very good form here. James Madison is a solid parlay piece. As Bryant's weekend bullpen ERA, 7.41. James Madison right after Cool, it's 4.71 weekend bullpen ERA. There could be a little bit of wear and tear on it because yesterday they were in a dogfight against South Carolina, but overall the offense is slightly better than Bryant's too. So 906 team OPS there, 115 WRC plus compared to Bryant's is 884, 112 respectively. So the minus 345 price is a bit high, but that money line pick in a money line parlay is not the worst thing in the world here. We're gonna hit on the thumbnail real quick. For the record, Trey Yesavage is not slated to, or he's not confirmed to start this game. I still think they'll probably throw him with their backs up against the wall and they need to win this game. In the post-game press conference yesterday, Cliff Godwin said he will pitch this weekend. I just don't know if it's going to be today, aka Saturday. So Chase Burns, though, did get pretty much confirmed by Tom Walter, the head coach of Wake Forest. So Burns, junior righty, 10-1 on the year, 2.46 ERA, 184 strikeouts, 26 walks, and 95 innings with a 0.25 SIERA, a 0.35 ERA in his last 4 starts. It's been pure dominance from Burns. Really, the only time that you're able to put up a run on him is if you take him deep. That's just kind of the way of the power pitcher. If they miss, it's usually a high heater around the middle of the plate, and you can turn around high heat and it'll go quite a ways. So that's really kind of the best way to score against Burns right now. And like I said, Trey Yesavage currently to be announced, but I'm going to project him to start here. Junior righty, 11-1 on the year, 209 ERA, 139 strikeouts, 28 walks in 86 innings with a 137 SIERA. These two guys are going to be two of the first 3 college pitchers selected in this year's MLB draft. Should be an excellent matchup. Hopefully it lives up to the hype. David Falco pitched 70 pitches yesterday for Wake Forest, so don't expect him. They did mix and match 4 other guys after him, all of them with less than 20 pitches, so this Wake bullpen is good rest, I would say. Are they ready to go? We'll find out, because yesterday they hold an average to below average VCU offense to 1 run. Unfortunately, the offense for Wake Forest didn't put up any runs, so they weren't able to advance off of a good bullpen appearance from a bullpen that's been very, very shaky over the last month. For East Carolina, cross off Ethan Norby after he threw 58 pitches yesterday, but overall, we did not see Wyatt Lunsford Shankman, but he did pitch during the AAC tournament, so take that for what it's worth. The Pirates bullpen's much better than Wake Forest. 4.17 weekend bullpen ERA, 884 team OPS, 112 WRC plus, and this Pirates team is 26-5 at home this year. I don't know if that moves the needle enough for me here. I was taking Wake Forest in this Chase Burns game no matter what. I thought this was going to be in a winner's bracket game. I was taking Wake Forest in this. It was going to be a 1-0 game, and I had East Carolina coming through the losers bracket and taking out Wake Forest then. I think Wake Forest is in a good spot to win this game, and if Yesavage doesn't throw, this is going to shoot up a ton. So if you're looking to bet this game just because it's the best game of the day, I highly recommend Wake Forest or nothing in this game. The updated odds, I should have read this off earlier. Wake Forest minus 160, East Carolina plus 124. Like I said, if it's not Yesavage, this thing's shooting up quite a bit. The next game that I have projected, confirmed, basically starting pitchers is all these losers bracket games suck to handicap. because there was just no matchups that really had two projected starting pitchers. Some of them had one, and that was even a tall task too. So from what it looks like, that is it for confirmed matchups for noon. Real quick, the college baseball tournament's going on daily throughout June, basically. Follow me on the college baseball experience, as we're going to have daily shows throughout June covering this great tournament, the NCAA Baseball Tournament. Experience the better side of college baseball with the college baseball experience. And also, the NBA playoffs are here, and our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting for you guys. It's the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and so much more. Make entries of all basketball or mix and match across your other favorite sports. You can win up to 100 times your money, and it's a ton of fun. Underdog is available in 30-plus states, including California, Texas, and even Canada. Personally, I was writing nightly articles for Underdog during the college basketball season. We were hitting at a 62% rate. They have plenty of player projection markets over there on their app. When you're hitting, it's plenty of fun. So go over there, try it out for yourself. Sign up today with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. So I would say the second half of today's slate, all the winners bracket games, the 1-0 games, we do have starting pitchers for a lot of them. And if they haven't been announced yet, it's pretty easy to assume just because they have been pretty good so far this year. So that's kind of what separates the two for sure. Between a lot of the 3 and 4 seeds and a lot of the 1 and 2 seeds, they do have pretty steady number 2 starting pitchers in their rotations. You do get a handful of them that I even don't feel safe projecting a starting pitcher for here. But for the most part, we are going to shoot our shots on a couple of these. And for what it's worth, Friday starters didn't even attempt to do what I'm doing right now. So Friday starters put out a entire graphic and web page projecting starting pitchers yesterday for day 1. They did that's the easy day because you get the previews the entire week and everybody's doing a tournament preview. Nobody's doing the game by game announcing their pitchers during the freaking regionals, dude. It's crazy. So Friday starters says no. We're not projecting day 2 starters due to the scarcity of teams listing them with the quick turnaround in games. We will highlight some matchups as they emerge. I got your matchups. Let's dive in. Do we do the second half, the winners bracket slate first, or do we do the 0-1 games? I think we just keep it in order, especially for those that are trying to tune in on audio for the early games. Alabama Stetson, game 1 here on the DraftKings slate. Alabama's minus 315, Stetson's plus 230. All of these games by order switched up too, because the way I've always done it is I try to get out in front of the odds releasing. So I'll go in order on my doc chronologically, but they still they don't have the exact order that I put my games in. So I'm going to take a little bit of time finding the matchups. So for Alabama, I think Ben Hess is going to go. This is an official to be announced starting pitcher here. Hess is 5-3 with a 5.98 ERA, 98 strikeouts, 61.2 innings. Or they could go with Zane Adams, the freshman, who's 4-5 on the year, 5.37 ERA, 47 strikeouts, and 58.2 innings. You either got a guy that's going to miss plenty of bats, but have a little bit of trouble finding the strike zone. We're going to have a guy that isn't going to walk too many guys, but he's a little bit more hittable. For the Stetson team as a 4 seed, they are a little bit frisky. They out-hit Florida State in game 1. Personally, I would start Hess here. Stetson as an offense, 899 team OPS, 105 WRC+. Alabama, on the other hand, 910 team OPS, 116 WRC+. Their weekend bullpen ERA, 634. Stetson's 412. So Alabama just really needs a good start here. For Stetson, another TBA. but I'm going to go with Eric McAtee, senior right-hander who's 3-3 on the year, 4.62 ERA. And we'll see what happens in this one. I recommend do not bet this. If anything, sprinkle a little bit on Stetson because they played well yesterday against Florida State. They just weren't able to put up as many runs to show for it. The YouTube chat is absolutely rolling. We got 132 of you guys watching live. Thank you all for tuning in. The next game on the DraftKings slate is Indiana State and Western Michigan here. Sycamores minus 360, Western Michigan Broncos plus 260. Total set at 13. Run line 3.5. 6 minus 3.5 is minus 125. The Broncos plus 3.5 is minus 105. Finding this game real quick here. So for Indiana State, this is a little bit of interesting because they started Zach Davidson, his first start of the year yesterday, and then they threw Jacob Pruitt, who started some games, and they threw Jared Spencer in relief as well, who's been kind of the Friday night guy for them most of the year, or I mean, not most of the year, for the back half of the year. Sorry. And Brennan Cutts is the guy that I'm officially going to predict throws here for Indiana State. He was the Missouri Valley Conference Pitcher of the Year. He's been starting their game twos all season long. 3.89 ERA, 70 strikeouts in 74 innings. Or they could go with Luke Hayden, who's got a 3.67 ERA, 84 strikeouts, 73.2 innings. Overall, this Indiana State pitching staff has plenty of options. That weekend bullpen ERA is 3.33 as well. 929 team OPS for the Sycamores, 120 WRC plus. Western Michigan looked very impressive against Kentucky. They came alive late and they actually held Kentucky to like 2 runs in the back half of that game. So 4.52 weekend bullpen ERA lived up to the standard. And early on, when they were down 8-0, they were not throwing some of their better options out of the pen. 899 team OPS for the Broncos, 116 WRC plus. I officially didn't find a guy here. Another TBA for Western Michigan. I'm going to project that it's Nolan Volchek going for this game. He's a senior righty, 5-3, 4.15 ERA, 90 strikeouts, 21 walks in 82.1 innings with a 297 Sierra. Here's the thing, like with a lot of teams that played on Friday that lost, it's because the offense didn't show up. Indiana State's got plenty of pitching, but they only scored 1 run on an Illinois pitcher who had a mid-5s ERA in his last couple of appearances. So Indiana State's not a team that I'm running to the window to back right now. And Western Michigan actually played pretty dang well yesterday. So if you're going to do anything, I would recommend jump on the plus money with Western. Next game is Army and Georgia Tech. The Black Knights are plus 290. Yellow Jackets minus 410. Total set at 14. Run line is at 4.5. Minus 4.5 for Georgia Tech. Plus 105. Army plus 4.5 is minus 135. Also, I forgot to mention this at the top of the show. Yesterday, dogs on the run line. So if they're getting plus 1.5, plus 2.5, all the way up to plus 9.5. Dogs on the run line covered 21 of the 31 games that went final yesterday. And just my picks in general, I went 22-9 picking games straight up, 14-7 on the run lines, 11-20 on the totals. Again, not my best effort when it comes to the run lines and totals and the money lines. The record's a little bit inflated with a lot of the larger favorites from yesterday. So yeah, again, like I said at the beginning of the day, not my best effort overall when it comes to a college baseball card. So yeah, Army, Georgia Tech. For this game here, I had to be announced on both teams. Army has 2 different options that they could go with. They could go with senior Mike Ruggieri, 5.21 ERA, 70 strikeouts, 65.2 innings. Or they could go with junior Justin Lehman, who has a 2.53 ERA, 47 strikeouts, and 67.2 innings. My prediction personally is that they go with the senior. Army went with Regiman yesterday, another senior, even though Lehman has typically thrown earlier in weekends. And again, I apologize for my Wi-Fi. My house Wi-Fi absolutely sucks, and um, family members are starting to wake up and jump on the Wi-Fi. So it's a tough situation, but it is what it is. Just getting the audio out to the people. Thank you all for tuning in on YouTube Live, 140, watching my pixelated picture on this screen. I appreciate it a lot. The next game that we could talk about here is Vanderbilt High Point, another juiced money line here on the favorite in Vanderbilt. That again, I feel more enticed to jump on the dog. High Point plus 300, Vandy minus 425 on the money line. Total set at 14. Vandy minus 4.5, minus 120. High Point plus 4.5, minus 110. For Vanderbilt, I'm projecting that it's going to be Bryce Cunningham with he's the right-handed junior for Vanderbilt, who Corbin said it was either going to be him or J.D. Thompson that started yesterday's game against Coastal. J.D. Thompson started. He did not have a good outing. Cunningham was the Friday night guy for most of the year for Vanderbilt. In my opinion, dance with the one that brought you. So Cunningham, I think, is going to pitch this game. 7-4, 4.20 ERA on the year, 94 strikeouts, 31 walks, and 79.1 innings with a 3.12 SIERA. And then for High Point, another TBA, but Brett Wozniak has been their number 2 for most of the year. Senior lefty, 8-2, 4.41 ERA, 49 strikeouts, 37 walks, and 81.2 innings. In his last 8 starts, he's a 2.51 ERA. So he's been going pretty well lately. The thing that nerves me a little bit, and we saw it against Clemson, is this bullpen for High Point is a little shaky. 7.70 weekend bullpen ERA there. But the offense is pretty good. 899 team OPS, 115 WRC plus, compared to Vanderbilt's 844 team OPS, 103 WRC plus, and the weekend bullpen ERA 661. So again, I don't think this price is validated for Vanderbilt. If anything, if you play anything in this game, it should be High Point on either the run line or money line. Honestly, Vanderbilt's not going to run up this score. This is probably going to be the first bet of the day for me. High Point plus 4.5 at minus 110. High Point plus 4.5. Sorry, I got the sniffles this morning too. Next game is Southern Miss in Northern Kentucky. The Golden Eagles minus 395. The Norse plus 280. Total set at 13.5, minus 115 both ways. Southern Miss minus 3.5 is minus 135. Northern Kentucky plus 3.5 is plus 105. We do have a projected starting pitcher here that I feel good about. Nicholls has been the number 2 for Southern Miss for most of the season, so why change that now? Junior right-hander going with their backs up against the wall. He's, like I said, been their number 2 the entire year. He's 8-3 with a 4.43 ERA, 92 strikeouts, 34 walks, and 81.1 innings, 3.38 SIERA. In his last 4 starts, though, it's a 5.88 ERA. And then going for Northern Kentucky is TBA officially. However, I think it'll be Ben Girl, senior lefty, who's 5-6, 7.80 ERA, 66 strikeouts, 77.1 innings, 41 walks, 4.61 SIERA. And the stat here for Southern Miss that again is a little bit of a knock on them against left-handed pitching this season, which Girl is a left-hander. They have a 746 OPS compared to their 897 OPS against right-handed pitching. So if you're going to try to bet against Southern Miss, it should be with a lefty starting pitcher on the mound. But I don't think Girl is good enough to really affect this game too much. Again, 7.80 ERA in the Horizon League isn't amazing. The Horizon League is an offensive league, but still, I would want it to be a little bit better than it currently is. Plus Northern Kentucky's bullpen, 7.94 ERA. Yes, this team is very powerful offensively, 4th highest team batting average in the country, top 5 scoring team in the nation. But I just can't get there with NKU. Another noon game real quick that we could talk about is Long Island and Wofford. This one's just going to be a quick one, though, because Long Island showed a lot of heart last night, and it got ripped out by the outstanding, awesome walk-off grand slam from North Carolina. One of 6 walk-offs last night / yesterday that broke an NCAA tournament regional record. This is probably where Wofford pitches Zach Cowan. Again, not confirmed, as Wofford elected not to throw him yesterday, as he started 2 games during the SoCon tournament to even get them into the regionals here. Wofford's probably good enough to win this game without him. But for what it's worth, I mean, he's available. So I think that he has a shot to go here, and then Wofford can get a win in the NCAA tournament and feel good about themselves. The 2 Long Island starting pitchers that could go here don't really move the needle too much. Could be Dominic Piedo, who has a 6.50 ERA, or Jared Hughes, who has a 7.52 ERA for this game. So, it would just be Wofford on a money line parlay for me in that one. Next one is the last one in the noon slate, Penn and St. John's. The Johnnies minus 210 on the money line. Penn plus 160. Total is at 12.5. St. John's minus 1.5 is minus 125. Penn plus 1.5 is minus 105. For this game, where are my projections on this document here? I've got TBAs on both officially. However, Ryan Dombrowski for Penn, he was here last year on the team that went to the regional final. Junior right-hander who's 3-5. It's a 7.36 ERA this year, 69 strikeouts, 26 walks in 58.2 innings with a 3.43 SIERA. And then the guy that I would expect from St. John's is Mario Pesca, sophomore right-hander. He was named to the All Big East first team, 2.94 ERA. Typically, he's the Sunday starting pitcher, but I just don't think St. John's would want to go home without using this guy. He's a monster 6'8" right-hander who is probably a little more stick and bones than he is a big fella, but he throws pretty hard. And St. John's weekend bullpen ERA, 3.90 compared to Penn's 6.31. The Penn team offense against right-handed pitching is 100 points less OPS-wise than against left-handed pitching, so that is another weakness for them as well. And plus, they're probably not used to seeing guys in the mid to high 90s like Pesha here, so St. John's is not going to be a bad look at all if we can get Pesca to throw. But again, currently I've got no confirmation on this. MJ Falls says Bryce Cunningham and Wozniak. So I'm right on both of those. Thank you guys for looking these up and dropping them in the YouTube chat. I really appreciate that a lot. Before we move on from the noon slate, I promise it'll be the last one, but we just got to knock it out because Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props available for every single NBA playoff game, making it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning their algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs to help you feel even more confident in your picks, which you can make wherever you normally place your bets or DFS picks. From superstars to bench players, Rhythm finds the best player prop lines, all backed by AI data, without you needing to endlessly scroll a sportsbook. Rhythm also allows you to create your own custom NBA models, so you can get AI-backed moneyline spread and total picks for every playoff game. Start a free 7-day trial and start winning your NBA playoff props with Rhythm, available wherever you get your apps. All right, we're home free here on the show. Thank you all for putting up with me and my shitty connection and some ad reads, but we got to make our money, right? 171 of you guys tuned in live. Shout out to all you guys. MJ Falls says we have starters for Alabama: Stetson, Daniel Perrette, and Ben Hess. So I didn't have Perrette. Let's look at Perrette real quick. I appreciate you guys dropping the names. Perrette on the season is 5-2, 5.26 ERA, 63 strikeouts. He's a senior left-handed hitter, 33 walks, 63.1 innings with a 4.12 SIERA. Man, I kind of wanted to find an angle against Alabama, but I don't know if that moves the needle as much or enough, I should say, right? Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. Watch out now, it's gambling time. Shout out to Dr. Octagon. Love it. And Tony Feud says, let's get some college baseball props on Rhythm. We need to get some college baseball props in the market in general. FanDuel was offering it like the first 4 weeks. They got blitzed on like some Chase Burns and Hagen Smith props every Friday, and they haven't consistently put them out since. So yeah, those that have tuned in, we went over that Wake Forest East Carolina game with Chase Burns on the mound. He is confirmed. Tom Walter said in their press conference that he would be going in this game. He's 10-1, 2.46 ERA, leads the country in strikeouts with 184, 26 walks, 95 innings, 0.25 SIERA, 0.35 ERA in his last four starts. It's dominant. I'll say this again. I said it earlier 20 minutes ago on the show. If you're going to bet this game at all, get Wake Forest right now because this price is only going to go up if Yesavage does not pitch. Cliff Godwin did not want to commit to pitching Yesavage yesterday in the post-game presser. So there's still a shot that he does not pitch in what would be a blockbuster matchup between two of the best 3 pitchers in college baseball this season. So Skrills asks, what was the St. John's play? I was rolling up and missed it. If Pesca or Pesha throws, he's a big right-handed pitcher. And Penn is a little bit worse against right-handed pitching than they are against left. Their OPS is 100 points lower against righties than it is southpaws. And St. John's pitching staff is incredible. 3.90 weekend bullpen ERA. So that's not a bad angle there. Evetta says Wofford just went from -600 to -900. LOL. Let's get through the losers bracket slate here. Let's finish this up. And then we'll return to the chat and we'll shoot the shit with the winners bracket because we actually have a lot of pitchers that I feel pretty confident with projections over there. But let's get through all the early games. That way people can place their bets right now. Again, I've only got one that I am going to bet after this show. It's High Point -110 at +4.5 against Vanderbilt. 2 p.m. East, Nebraska -500 and Niagara +340 here. Let me find this game on my notes. To be announced starters for both teams here. Niagara didn't really have a guy that impressed me too much to even project. Nebraska is pretty deep when it comes to their starting rotation. They go with 4 guys. It could be Mason McConaughey. It could be Christo. So either way, again, Niagara doesn't really move the needle enough for me. Nebraska at -500 is not a bad parlay piece for today. Next game is Duke and Oral Roberts. And holy smokes, did Oral Roberts get smacked yesterday. I'm not sure what I was surprised in more. Duke losing the UConn, which was very, very surprising. Or when I checked the scoreboard on Oklahoma and Oral Roberts game, it was 14-0. I expect Duke to be able to get after this ORU pitching staff if Oklahoma was able to. The nervousness about Duke is just right now. The bats didn't show up in game one, only one run, and it was in the first inning. So that's going to draw some cold feet here for sure. Hence why the price is kind of low at a -315. But they should win this game. It's a 4.39 weekend bullpen ERA for Duke. No determined or projected or confirmed starting pitcher here. So we don't know if it's Jonathan Sutucci. We don't know if it's Kyle Johnson. I would assume one of those two goes. However, if Duke elects not to go with either one of them, they'll just mix and match their way through 9 innings, and their offense has a shot to slug their way to a victory with the 965 team OPS, 126 WRC plus. For Oral Roberts, I think it's going to be Brooks Fowler. Again, this is a TBA, but Fowler was on the last year's team as their 4th starter, I believe, junior righty. He's 6-5 this year with a 5.65 ERA, 79 strikeouts, 29 walks in 73.1 innings with a 3.62 Sierra. In his last 3 starts, it hasn't been good with a 6.09 ERA. The bullpen's not great with a 5.68, and the offense overall is a bit below average in D1 with a 92 WRC plus and a 777 team OPS. Shout out to that number, by the way. But Duke, I think, is a solid parlay piece here. Sultan of Swats is catching the tail end of live. Let's go, Noah. We're not even in the second half of the show, baby. So you got here just in time because really I haven't even got to the games that I'm really confident in the pitchers pitching. These are all just TBAs and my best prediction of who throws. So keep your eye on social media, all these teams' social media accounts to see who's throwing because they'll announce it within the hour if you're looking to bet a game. Louisiana Grambling in-state matchup here for these two teams. I really didn't go looking into this game too much. Louisiana beat Grambling 12-4 earlier this season, and Grambling got basically murdered whenever they left the SWAC. Literally, I think they've only got wins against SWAC and non-D1 schools. They did not win a single non-conference game this season, unfortunately, for the Tigers. So Louisiana should be able to figure out the offense and win this game somewhat comfortably. Grambling should be able to put up a run or two like they did in the midweek game earlier against Louisiana this season. But for what it's worth, I'm just staying away from this game completely. And we'll move on to San Diego, Fresno State. The Toreros are -270, the Bulldogs +200. To be announced on both teams here once again. No difference than any other game. Fresno State, Jake Dixon has been their best pitcher for most of the season. He did not pitch yesterday, so the grad left-hander is probably going to go today. 5-3, 5.29 ERA, 83 strikeouts, 28 walks in 78.1 innings, 3.53 Sierra. Then for San Diego, it's going to be Logan Redeman, freshman right-hander who's 7-2, 3.75 ERA, 59 strikeouts, 18 walks in 72 innings with a 3.79 Sierra. Again, it's a TBA, but Logan Redeman has been their number 2 all season long. So feel pretty comfortable projecting that one. And this offense for San Diego has been much better against right-handed pitching this year than lefty. Jake Dixon being a lefty should give Fresno a fighting chance in this game. As the Toreros OPS against left-handed pitching is 792. Against right-handed pitching, it's 895. And shout out to Helms22. He's saying this show moves lines without a doubt. like we said on yesterday's show, like being humble about it. We're the only ones that are diving into the mud this much into all these matchups. So with how many 192 currently watching live on YouTube, 920 that have tuned in cumulatively throughout the show. If any one of you guys go and bet a game, $20, $50, that's all it takes to move a college baseball line 10 cents or so. So, I would be on San Diego State in that game, but I do think Dixon gives the Bulldogs a fighting chance in that. Tulane and Nicholls State is the next one. This one's fun. Regional matchup, however, regional to the state of Louisiana. It's being played in Corvallis, Oregon. Nicholls State kind of had their hearts ripped out in yesterday's game as well. Tulane, like I kind of predicted, their hot lineup was going to be stymied by the Oregon State pitching staff, and it kind of was. We do have a slated pitcher here. Nicholls State announced that Michael Quevedo, junior lefty, would pitch in this game via their game notes on their website. 5-0 on the year, 5.01 ERA, 66 strikeouts, 21 walks, and 64.2 innings, 367 Sierra. In his last 3 starts, it's a 7.86 ERA. That's just not going to work against the hot Tulane lineup. Even though Tulane lost yesterday against Oregon State, I still think they'll be able to pick up right where they left off in the AAC tournament. Tulane is 2-0 against Nicholls this season with a 14-12 and 3-2 victories. So close games for what it's worth, but both of them were in the midweek. Tulane's going to have one of their weekend starters to go in this game. It would either be Luke Flata with a 5.28 ERA, 60 strikeouts, 19 walks, or Billy Price, 2.76 ERA, 30 strikeouts, 49 innings pitched on the year. The thing about Billy is he's just recently become one of their more consistent starting pitchers. He was a reliever for most of the year. Darius Williams asking about Wake Forest, East Carolina. I talked about it twice on the show earlier. Rewind it about 10 minutes and you'll get my reaction to it. I would recommend you bet Wake Forest right now or don't bet anything in this matchup. So next game is a very exciting elimination game as well. 1 and 2 seeds in Tucson playing an 0-1 game. The Dallas Baptist Patriots are -105. Arizona -125. In this game, we do have one confirmed pitcher. It is Cam Walty, the senior right-hander, who's 8-1 on the year, 2.81 ERA, 73 strikeouts, 12 walks, and 86.1 innings with a 3.51 Sierra. For Dallas Baptist, we have a TBA, but it's going to be one of their 2 weekend starters that they haven't thrown yet. Either Gerard Jenkins with a 3.23 ERA, 54 strikeouts, and 55.2 innings, or Jaron DeBerry with a 3.75 ERA, 83 strikeouts, and 84 innings. So, yeah, Cam Walty's been super solid all year long. Really sustained success over the last 2 months. Very steady arm. You know what you're going to get from him here. Dallas Baptist as well against right-handed pitching. Their OPS is 70 points less than it is against left-handed pitching. Both bullpens good. For DBU, it's a 4.87 weekend bullpen ERA. For Arizona, it's a 4.55. DBU's offense is marginally better, though, about 23% better when you're talking WRC+. DBU with a 119, Arizona with a 96, 934 team OPS for DBU, Arizona with an 810. This one's a tough one to predict because DBU also is 14-7 straight up on the road this season. Arizona against left-handed pitching. That was for yesterday. Never mind. They're 19-8 at home now after their loss last night to Grand Canyon. To me, this is quite notable that it's pretty close to a coin flip here. DBU -105, Arizona -125. Arizona had a great crowd for yesterday's game against Grand Canyon. I'm assuming it's going to be, a pretty full house once again here for the 2 seed that they're playing in an elimination game, kind of like the same situation over there in Greenville. I would take the home team with a steady arm that is projected right now. If Jaron DeBerry is the announced name for DBU, even Jenkins, I wouldn't even say DeBerry really moves the needle more than Jenkins. Both of those guys are pretty solid. If it's one of those 2 guys, I probably wouldn't end up on Arizona. But the under in this one seems pretty enticing. It should be a little bit of a low scoring game with Arizona typically not scoring too many runs in games this season with a slightly below average offense. And Dallas Baptist with a solid starting pitcher, and Cam Walty, who's been super good this year as well. We're about to jump into the winners bracket real quick. I'm going to check the YouTube chat. There's over 200 of you guys watching live. Shout out to all you guys. Drop any comments that you'd like throughout the show. Drop any pictures that you find projected for today's games. But for the second half of this show and all the winners bracket games, we do have, very good guesses for some of these games. We're going to start off with a game that is confirmed. Is Clemson's Aiden Canuck against Coastal Carolina's Henry Weicker. Canuck is a freshman right-hander, 5-1, 296 ERA, 97 strikeouts, 26 walks in 73 innings with a 249 SIERA. And in his last 7 starts, it's a 173 ERA. For Weicker, he's a grad left-hander, so big difference in experience on the mound here in this game. Canuck being his first postseason appearance, and Weicker, a transfer from Virginia Tech. I don't know if he was on that Hokie team that was a top 8 seed 2 years ago or not, but just being a grad left-hander, he's definitely got the experience edge over Canuck. He's 4-1 on the year. Weicker is with a 3.62 ERA, 49 strikeouts, 14 walks, and 49.2 innings with a 3.03 SIERA, 2.17 ERA in his last 3 starts. Clemson at home this year, 28-6. Coastal Carolina 9-12 on the road. Both offenses really similar to each other. Clemson with a 916 team OPS, 117 WRC plus. Coastal with a 913 team OPS, 119 WRC plus. Coastal has the slightly worse bullpen with a 5.96 weekend bullpen ERA. Clemson sitting there at a 5.33. The updated odds in this game: Clemson minus 200, Coastal plus 154. Straight up, I like Clemson a lot. That's not going to come to a surprise to any of you guys that have listened to this show for throughout the season. Coastal has, they're playing for their coach. They have that little storyline going right now. And how could you have asked for a better start than blowing out Vanderbilt in game 1, 13-3? If Clemson wants to fall down early again, like they did against High Point, like they've done 25 other times, coming back against this Coastal Carolina team is going to be a bit harder if the Chanticleers just keep putting up runs. So this one should be an interesting game. For what it's worth, I'm going to take Clemson. I just think they've got a really good mojo about them, and that lineup 1 through 9 rakes. They've got 6 guys over batting over 300, and just they'll get to Coastal Carolina's pitching staff at some point in this game, in my opinion. Florida State minus 250, UCF plus 190 is the next game on the slate. Florida State's starting Jamie Arnold, sophomore lefty, 10-3 on the year, 2.45 ERA, 134 strikeouts, 20 walks, and 88.1 innings. He has a 1.68 SIERA on the year and a 2.70 ERA in his last 3 appearances. Again, Arnold was confirmed to pitch in this game. Then we've got TBA for UCF. It would be Ben Vespi, senior right-hander who's 4-3, 4.44 ERA, 71 strikeouts, 27 walks in 75 innings. That's who I think would throw for UCF. Big pitcher advantage here for Florida State when it comes to starting on the bump here. If it gets into the later innings and it's still close, that's probably where it favors UCF the most, as offensively they don't really match Florida State. But Florida State having to use some of their bullpen pieces yesterday against Stetson, in a pretty close. Actually, no, never mind. Carson Dorsey went 8.2. I was thinking of a different game. Somebody else. There were 32 games yesterday. Give me a break. So yeah, Florida State 27-4 at home this season. UCF with an 809 team OPS, 97 WRC plus. I just don't think they're going to do enough against Jamie Arnold and Florida State to win this ball game. My chair is sinking on me. All right. The next game should be a fun one if it's correct. If I've got the right game that I'm thinking of pulled up. LSU and North Carolina, 115 both ways, minus 115. Currently on DraftKings, no total, no run line out on this yet for DK. For LSU and North Carolina, it's to be announced officially, but we've got a pretty good idea that they're going to throw both of their number twos today. Luke Holman, a junior righty, who's 9-3 with a 2.54 ERA, 116 strikeouts, 32 walks, and 85 innings with a 1.48 ERA in his last 3 starts. And then Shea Sprague, who recently has not been nearly as good as Holman with a 6.16 ERA in his last 3 starts. 3-1 record, 4.02 ERA, 55 strikeouts, 14 walks, and 65 innings on the season. And also, this North Carolina bullpen was just stretched to the limits yesterday against Long Island. And the Shocks, the fucking Shocks. Shout out to Colby Dan, co-host of the College Baseball Experience, host of College Football and College Basketball Experience for the Shocks. They almost pulled off the moneyline victory yesterday. They lose via grand slam, had their hearts ripped out. Now you got an LSU and so UNC winning on walk-off grand slam, LSU winning off of a fresh both teams actually won by freshman walk-off home runs. LSU winning via a Stephen Milam home run. He hit 2 homers yesterday, one from each side of the plate. That little man's raking right now. This is a tough game to handicap for sure. LSU being their OPS is higher against right-handed pitching than it is against left-handed by about 80 points. So that's one knock against the Tigers in this matchup if you're looking to bet the Tar Heels. And also North Carolina's 33-2 at home this year. But is that really stopping the Tiger faithful from getting into Boshemer Stadium? LSU all season long, 6-11 on the road this year. So it's a big knock. And also North Carolina's offense, it's 90 points worse OPS-wise against right-handed pitching than it is against left. Luke Holman, one of your more dominating right-handed pitchers in the season so far. This game is really tough to pick. I'm going to end up going with LSU. I think this one plays out a lot like Wake Forest, North Carolina did last Friday. I think LSU is just going to be able to just outlast UNC enough. I think Sprague, who also threw in that Wake Forest game, is going to go solid. He's not going to pitch amazing like a Burns did, but I think Holman's going to be able to somewhat match the output of what Burns did, maybe 1 or 2 runs given up, not like 6 or 7 shutty. But yeah, this should be one of the better games, one of the best games of the day here. An under could be in play, but for what it's worth, I'm going to go with LSU in this game. Next game here is Tennessee and Indiana. This one's really interesting. So the Vols are minus 330. Indiana's plus 240 in this game. I mean, we've got to be announced for both teams. However, Drew Beam for Tennessee seems pretty shoe-in, pretty easy to project in this matchup here. He's a junior righty, been their number 2 starter all year long. He's 8-2 with a 3.92 ERA, 75 strikeouts, 21 walks, and 85 innings. Here's the kicker: a 6.19 ERA in his last 3 starts, And for Indiana, it's their best pitcher, Connor Foley, a sophomore righty, who's 4-1 on the year, 3.71 ERA, 80 strikeouts, 42 walks, 60.2 innings. In his last 6 starts, it's been a dominating 1.06 ERA. Indiana's bullpen's not good compared to Tennessee's. Tennessee has tremendous depth with a 3.49 weekend bullpen ERA. Indiana's, it's about average, par for the course around the country with a 5.69 weekend bullpen ERA. Taylor Miller saying, "Hola, college baseball insiders have hella pitchers projected." I've been chatting with them all day. I'm good buddies with those guys, so we share pictures in a group chat. So what they've got, I don't think they have much more than what I do here for the show. Foley with a 1.06 ERA in his last 6 starts. Sorry for my sniffling there. Tennessee, though, 36-3 at home. I'm not sure if they're going to fall to Indiana here, but I do think that this one's going to be close. And when the run line comes out, if I'm getting like 3.5, 2.5, Indiana's not a bad look. Connor Foley has a shot to deal here against Tennessee for sure. But when you compare the two teams on paper, when it comes to the bullpen and the offenses, Tennessee's the easy play. So if you had the first 5 line in college baseball, like that would be awesome, but we don't, unfortunately. So next game here is, and for what it's worth, I'll go ahead and I'll pull up the College Baseball Insider's website and see if they've got anything other than what I have in front of me for some of these games. I wonder if they found all these, or are they just putting in names like I am, because a lot of them are the same, and I'm projecting. I didn't find these guys to be confirmed, and it looks like to me they're just putting them in on their website. Grissom and Q, if you're in here, let me know in the chat what you guys did, and I'll display the website because I can display it on the screen when we're talking here on the show. UNC Wilmington minus 180, or sorry, that's not the correct price. UNC Wilmington plus 180 against Georgia, who's minus 238. This is a really interesting game. Again, to be announced pitchers for both teams here. For UNCW, they could go 2 ways. They could either go with Zane Taylor, who has a 3.74 ERA, or Jacob Schaefer with a 5.50 ERA. But he has more games started under it. Or no, Schaefer's on more rest than Taylor. That was it. And then Georgia, they could either go with Colton Smith with a 4.40 ERA or Charlie Goldston with a 3.72 ERA. Goldstein's the one with more starts than Colton Smith this season for Georgia. Also, that Georgia bullpen, it's bad. 7.57 weekend ERA. Did not look good against Army yesterday. However, they have a significant edge over UNCW offensively. Georgia, 1035 team OPS, 138 WRC plus. Wilmington with an 874 and 105. And Georgia's 29-5 at home this year at Foley Field. UNC Wilmington 13-10 on the road. So not bad. It's not the worst I've seen. And to be honest, they have a winning record on the road, so that's impressive. Jack Cabozzi says, do Santucci and the boys have a shot, Noah? I don't know if Santucci is pitching or not, so we still have to find that out. Because it could be Kyle Johnson, or it could be somebody completely different, just from the bullpen as they try to mix and match their way through 9 innings. For what it's worth, UNCW, for what they did against Georgia Tech, holding that Yellow Jackets offense to 0 runs and putting up a couple of big innings in their own right against them, that was loud, in my opinion. And plus 180 here on the Seahawks is a little disrespectful. Georgia had a hell easy draw, and that was one reason why I loved them to get out of this regional, get to Omaha. UNC Wilmington is the one team here that gives me a little bit of nerve about Georgia's pitching staff, because UNC Wilmington has that much of a better pitching staff than Georgia. Next game on the slate is Kentucky, Illinois. The Wildcats, minus 245 on the money line. Illinois, plus 185 here. So yesterday on Western Michigan's game notes, they projected Trey Poozer to start for Kentucky. They were wrong. I read the Western Michigan game notes, and I thought Kentucky was starting Poozer yesterday. They did not start Poozer. They started Nyman, and Nyman blew up. So it allowed Western to kind of build a little bit of a comeback. Poozer is going to start this game for Kentucky via Nick Mingione in a press conference after the Western Michigan game. Poozer is a graduate senior right-hander transfer from College of Charleston. He's 5-1 with a 4.02 ERA, 64 strikeouts, 27 walks, and 69.1 innings. Illinois got a TBA here. This one, this projection's a little bit tougher to make, so I didn't really grab any stats or anything else. I think it's Cooper Ullman's who will start here, but I don't feel too comfortable labeling that in this matchup. Both offenses pretty similar. UK, on paper, it's a better pitching staff, but recently it hasn't looked too much better. The thing that gets me about Illinois, and I've said this on the show before, is the Big Ten tournament and now game one against Indiana State in the Lexington Regional. Both Charles Schwab Field in Omaha for the Big Ten tournament and Kentucky Proud Park in the Lexington Regional are big parks. Illinois relies on the long ball to produce most of their offense. They scored 4 runs yesterday. If you get a normal offensive performance from Indiana State, Illinois has a shot to lose that game, and they wouldn't be playing in this one. Kentucky with their best pitcher on the mound, I think they're going to be able to hold Illinois' offense down once again. And therefore, I'm going to take Kentucky on the money line in this one. Minus 245, though, again, not really going to bet it. Just really frustrating because yesterday it was the day that we just unload, and it has been for the last 2 years as well. First year that we did the show, made 7 units on day one of the NCAA tournament. Last year we made 3 units, and this year we lost 5. Just really frustrating because you don't get a lot of the projected starting pitchers for the other days in the NCAA tournament. So just, I apologize. We missed on a golden opportunity this season, but it is what it is. We plan on bouncing back, and a game that we can do that on is Evansville and VCU. Evansville's minus 130, VCU plus 100 here. Evansville's starting Donovan Schultz. This is confirmed. They said this in the post game. Schultz is a senior lefty. Sorry, my allergies are tough. So Donovan Schultz is going to start this game. Senior lefty, 5-2 on the year, 5.72 ERA, 67 strikeouts, 28 walks, and 83.1 innings, 430 Sierra. And in his last 8 starts, he's been super steady, 4.39 ERA. And then for VCU, it's a TBA officially, but it's going to be Everett Vaughn most likely with a 6.17 ERA. So take it for what it's worth. Evansville's offense is much better than VCU's, much better. With a 9.16 OPS, 119 WRC plus. VCU's pitching staff overall is much better than Evansville's. They just don't have the starting pitcher edge in this game. VCU with a 4.36 weekend bullpen ERA. Evansville with a 5.93. Evansville and VCU both probably used some of their better options in game one. I didn't go in and check that thoroughly to know. But this should be a pretty evenly matched game. The odds project that, and actually just a slight favor to the 4 seed that I think should have been a 3 seed over the 3 seed that I think should have been a 4 seed. So I'm going to pick Evansville in this game. The next game on our slate is Mississippi State and Virginia. Should be one of the more fun games of the day. The Bulldogs are plus 120. The Cavs are minus 150. Again, TBAs for this one, but I feel pretty comfortable. Both of these teams kind of have obvious setups for this one. Mississippi State should start Jurangelo Sanja here. Sophomore switch pitcher, mostly right-handed now, though, in his most recent starts. He's trying to look impressive for the MLB draft. Who wouldn't? So, yeah, he's been going from the right side for most of his appearances recently. 8-2, 3.55 ERA, 108 strikeouts, 29 walks, and 83.2 innings. 2.58 SIERA on the year, which is really impressive compared to the 3.55 ERA. So under the hood, he should be performing a little bit better than he actually is. And in his last 4 starts, when he's been mainly right-handed, it's a 2.96 ERA. So, when you look under the hood and you see, his advanced analytics say he should be a little bit better than he is, and he's starting to eliminate the left side, and he's pitching better. So it's starting to kind of even out a little bit. Sanja from the right side, and ace pretty much everywhere else where there isn't a Cal Steven, right? So on the other hand, Virginia's starting Evan Blanco, sophomore lefty, who's 7-3 on the year, 3.50 ERA, 79 strikeouts, 24 walks, and 79.2 innings. In his last 3 starts, it's a 0.39 ERA. Mississippi State's got the pitching edge in this game when it comes to the bullpens. Virginia's got the advantage when it comes to the lineups. Shout out to Dakota Jordan, who woke up yesterday and had a walk-off homer, 3-run bomb to beat St. John's in the one of the nightcap games in the Charlottesville Regional. Whereas Virginia, the offense didn't look too incredible either against Penn in the first game. So this probably is going to be a lower scoring game. No total in front of me currently right now to really give out a comfortable pick on that under. However, I do feel pretty good about it. Blanco with a 0.39 ERA in his last 3 starts. Sanja with a 2.96 ERA in his last 4 starts. Mississippi State bullpen, 4.84 ERA. The Virginia bullpen's a little nerving with a 6.26, and the offense could ruin this with a 10.21 team OPS, 137 WRC plus, compared to Hail State's 8.35 and 1.02. For the record, I do think Virginia wins this game. The under would be my favorite play in this one. Tanner Reese saying Nyman wasn't good end of year. Glad to see he came back. Nathaniel Bose says 12.5. If this one's 12.5, let me know the book, because Mississippi State, Virginia should be a good under pick at 12.5. Got a couple more games here on the slate. 6 o'clock, South Carolina against NC State. The Gamecocks are minus 125. The Wolfpack minus 105 here at the Doak. Garrett Gainey is getting the start. He's a senior lefty, 1-4 on the year, 3.94 ERA, 64 strikeouts, 9 walks, and 48 innings with a 2.06 SIERA. And then going for NC State's Dom Fritton, sophomore lefty, 3-5, 7 flat ERA on the year, 64 strikeouts, 39 walks, in 63 innings with a 4.59 SIERA. Going for South Carolina's, their bullpen has kind of figured it out. They used Veach. They used Good yesterday, so that's notable. NC State's bullpen, not too far behind, actually been pretty impressive over the last month with a 5.76 ERA on the season on the weekends. And, South Carolina's defense nerves me a little bit. Specifically, LaCroix over there at third base has made a couple of errors in his last few games. NC State 25-7 at home this year. South Carolina 9-10. And against left-handed pitching, it's an 820 OPS compared to right-handed pitching where it's a 920. Dom Fritton, a left-handed pitcher, could give this South Carolina lineup a couple of problems. Give me NC State in this game. The next game the next game on the slate that we'll talk about here is Oklahoma State and Florida. This game is being played at 7 o'clock. The Pokes are minus 195. The Gators are plus 150. speaking of those college baseball insiders guys, Quentin Mills told me that he found or saw Jack Caglione was going to get the start for Florida. I didn't see anything about Caglione when I went and did a search, but I trust that guy. Ed Caglione's been solid this year, 5-1 with a 4.35 ERA, and when Florida's been Dr. Octagon's getting them on Bet365. Oh, and Bet Online and Bovada. So everybody on the offshores has the totals out currently. Good to know. So yeah, Caglione, when he's on the mound, that's when Florida wins most of their games. Brian Holiday, I assume, is going to take the ball for Oklahoma State in this game. Junior right-hander, who's 6-3, 3.12 ERA, 118 strikeouts, only 18 walks in 104 innings with a 2.46 SIERA. Oklahoma State's bullpen and offense, just all around the board, is much better than Florida's. 5.02 weekend bullpen ERA compared to Florida's 5.96. 9.27 team OPS for the Pokes, 1.19 WRC plus. For Florida, it's an 8.96 OPS, 1.11 WRC plus. Florida 9-12 on the road. Oklahoma State 22-5 at home. I have Oklahoma State winning this game. I have them winning the regional. I think that's this matchup sets them up perfectly to put them in the driver's seat and put them in the regional final. Again, I'm just not too high on this Florida team right now. And they've got to do a little bit more than just show up and win one game to impress me based on their performance for much of this season so far. The next game on our slate, we've got 4 more to talk about. Texas A&M's minus 238 against Texas plus 180. Texas is going to have last bats in this game against Texas A&M. For those that don't know, the way it's decided in the NCAA tournament is the team that has played less games as the home team, with quotation marks around that. So the team that's batted second less than the other team will be the home team. If it's both teams have been the home team once or both teams have been the home team 0 times, the tiebreaker goes to the highest seed. So the 1 seed's going to be the home team over the 2. The 1 seed's going to be the home team over the 3 seed, and so forth. So Texas A&M is going to start Ryan Prager. For Texas, I have a TBA. I didn't really go out of my way and project the guy. It could be Ace Whitehead, could be LeBaron Johnson Jr. I have no idea currently at this time at 10:43 a.m. Ryan Prager, sophomore lefty, 8-1 on the year, 2.51 ERA, 106 strikeouts, 15 walks, and 79 innings with a 1.83 SIERA. Their weekend bullpen ERA is incredible. Top 3 in the country with a 3.62 ERA, 9.79 team OPS, 1.29 WRC plus for the Aggies. It's much better than Texas's 9.09 with a 97 WRC plus and their 11-5 record on the road, compared to Texas A&M's 33-3 record at home this season. So, in Texas with a 5.15 weekend bullpen ERA, I'm on Texas A&M in this matchup. The next one, I don't have a pitcher projected for either team in this one. Jacob Kmatz has been a little bit rough for Oregon State recently, and Irvine has a choice between 2 pitchers that they could go with. Irvine's plus 145 after their 9-inning thriller against Nicholls State yesterday. Oregon State's minus 190 on the money line here. Oregon State with a 3.95 weekend bullpen ERA. Irvine with 4.19. 9.89 team OPS for Oregon State with a 1.31 WRC plus, and they're 25-2 at home. UC Irvine has been very, very good on the road this year, 20-5, 125 WRC plus, 9.30 team OPS. The pitching matchup's really going to matter in this one, and again, Kmatz hasn't been in the greatest form as of late, but I'm not going to be too bold in this one. I'm going to take Oregon State in this one, in this moving day matchup. Seems like a lot of chalk for me, as we've got 2 more games remaining Grand Canyon and West Virginia, the Antelopes plus 110, the Mountaineers minus 140 in this matchup. TBA on both. For what it's worth, it could be Aiden Major for West Virginia. It could be Daniel Avidia for Grand Canyon. We'll wait and see to find out. And this is going to be one of the last games of the day, so we'll have plenty of time to jump on it. Avidia, I would assume, has the upper hand over Aiden Major, and Green Canyon with a 408 weekend bullpen ERA compared to West Virginia's 581. That's a huge difference in this game, where otherwise it would be hard to separate the two teams. Grand Canyon 111 WRC plus, 883 team OPS. West Virginia 101 WRC plus, 842 team OPS. I'm going to take the Lopes to win this game. And then the last game of the night, it's UC Santa Barbara against Oregon. The Gauchos minus 145, the Ducks plus 114. Again, TBA here, both teams tremendous pitching depth. Either which way they want to play this game out, they'll be just fine. The Gauchos 411 weekend bullpen ERA, Oregon 394 weekend bullpen ERA. Both offenses pretty similar. The kicker here for me, UC Santa Barbara is 26-0 at Caesar Usaka Stadium. 892 team OPS, 114 WRC plus for the Gauchos, compared to an 877, 109 for Oregon. So I'm going to take the Gauchos in this game. That's going to wrap up all 31 games, or all 30 games, sorry, that we were talking about. Actually, it's 29, because DraftKings currently isn't offering Oklahoma UConn. But for the record, I would take Oklahoma in that game. I didn't go and handicap that one separately just because there was no odds. It's really weird from DraftKings, but it is what it is. The other two games that are missing are from that Fayetteville regional, because Kansas State and Louisiana Tech are finishing their game up here at noon Eastern, or noon Central, one of the two noons. So, yeah, that is going to wrap up all of the games that I went through. Unfortunately, just because there's not a ton of pitchers confirmed, I kind of flew through it and didn't really label a ton of picks with a ton of confidence in what I'm betting. For what it's worth, my favorite pick of the day is going to be High Point minus 110 at plus 4.5. Otherwise, I'm going through one final sweep to double check on a lot of my decisions that I kind of flew through. I feel good about LSU. That's probably a fringe bet for me. On a day without much action, LSU might end up being bet by myself. I like Virginia over Mississippi State. I actually like the under. That's what I meant. The under in that game is probably going to be a play. Somebody said it was 12.5. That one's probably one of my favorite ones. Tanner Reese saying the Lexington Regional night game moved to 55 minutes after Game 3 due to weather. Interesting. Why would they move it later due to weather? Wouldn't you want to move it up? So there's a bunch of parlay opportunities, but we'll have to just see. We have to make sure that who I'm projecting and predicting the pitch ends up on the mound for each team. So just stay privy, stay up to date on Twitter. Follow a couple of teams if you're looking to zone in on one of these matchups. They'll be tweeting out their starting pitcher for most of these games, and if it's somebody that I had and you have a good feeling about the game, go ahead and bet it. That would be my advice. Otherwise, it's unfortunate without a lot of the pitchers known right now. Usually it's not this bad. I jinxed it with yesterday's show. I said that yesterday was much easier than I remembered in years past. And then this year for day 2, they only put out The teams collectively of the 64, we only had about 12 confirmed starting pitchers. So Nathaniel Bowe says the High Point line is moving. I have plus 3.5. Shout out to the show. We had over 1,500 cumulative people tune in to this show live at 9. It started at 9:30 a.m. 189 of you currently in YouTube. All we ask is just drop a like on the video, hit subscribe. Avetta asking about Florida State lock with Arnold. I would feel pretty good, honestly, because he is confirmed in this matchup. The only thing is about Florida State is they're minus 250. You would just have to find another leg that you feel good about on the parlay, because I wouldn't bet it straight. But yeah, I feel comfortable that the Noles win that, but not willing to parlay it with anything. The Indiana one, I was close to pulling the trigger on, as that they're a dog of plus 240, but just I don't think they're going to be able to win in Lindsey Nelson Stadium, and why waste some money? Jay Dow Betts says if anyone has Fanatics, High Point is still plus 4.5, minus 115. He just bet it. So yeah, shout out to all you guys. Jeff Sharp saying Duke hurt me bad. They're my one team in Omaha that lost game 1. So that's unfortunate for sure. Yeah. That's going to wrap up today's show. Thank you all for tuning in. Like I said, drop a like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter at NoahB77_. Follow the show, The College Experience, on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Colby's getting ready to start his team previews on every single college football team throughout this preseason and summer. So plenty of content still coming out from us during the offseason of college football. I'll be going live doing shows throughout June every day for the NCAA tournament. Thank you all for joining today's college baseball experience. I really enjoyed the live aspect of it. And like I said, thank you for spending some time with me today. You've been experiencing the better side of college baseball with the college baseball experience. Adios, amigos.